Hello, everyone. It's me, Monica P. Hall, aka Conduit of Healing, and it is time for our weekly messages for the collective. First things first, I'm a little hoarse this week. I just got back from vacation. In case you were wondering why there was no message last week, I needed a little R&R, a little spiritual R&R, and so I took that time. I showed myself some self-love, some self-care, and I went off grid for a minute. 5 days. It was amazing. There was an upgrade. It was beautiful. So if you need to take a rest, if you need to kind of go off grid a little bit, if you need to kind of disappear from your life for a little bit, please make sure you're doing that. Please make sure you're taking care of yourself, because we need you out here. We need your positive vibes. We need your positive energy. We need your wisdom. But if you need you more, please make sure you're taking the time to rest. Okay. So let's get back at it. All right, this week's messages about, yes, I wrote it down. It's an interesting one this week. Ready? Let's go. It is imperative that you learn how to use your voice. Not only does it express your soul's desire to others, it gives you the opportunity to speak directly to the universe, thereby using your co-creating abilities with intention and power. Use your voice if you want to affect change in the collective for the highest and best good of all. Use your voice if you want to affect change in the collective for the highest and best good for all of all. How many of you out there are having problems with your throat chakra? This area right here, okay? So what's some indication that you are having an issue with your throat chakra, that it's not open, that it is closed? A good indication is when you feel like you need to say something, but you're afraid to say it, you feel a big lump in your throat. That lump really represents the message that you need to share, but that you may feel too timid, too insecure, too afraid, too nervous, or feeling that you are not comfortable with the backlash of using your voice, because there's going to be some pushback, there's going to be some criticism for using your voice. Here's the thing. Given where we are right now in the, let's call it the human story on Terra Earth, in the now moment, it is so important that you use your voice. We are in a time where the individual really needs to speak their desires to the universe so that they can add their voices to the collective in a way that's going to help us all ascend. All right. So we're living in a time where people are arguing about literally everything. Some people don't want change. Some people are feeling progressive and they're pushing for change. Some people are feeling like their individualism is being violated on a mass level. Okay, here's where we are right now. This is what I think a lot of people are a little confused about. There's you, the individual, and there's you, the individual, choosing to participate in a group. That group could be something small as your family. That group could be something small as a social group or some sort of club or league or something that you meet up with. That group could be your job if you work for a company. That group could be your local government. That group could be your state government. That group could be your federal government. I think one of the things we all forget is like the whole idea of tribes, and tribes as government, and tribes as cohabitation, and tribes as group. We haven't lost that. We've evolved it. We've changed its name. But pretty much this is kind of, we're still kind of trying to figure out tribal mentality and how to find the balance in that. All right. So here's one of the things that you need to recognize and realize. The majority only rules those who follow the majority. If you allow the majority to rule you and you feel like the majority is moving in the wrong direction, you need to speak, because you're probably not the only one who feels the way that you feel. Also, If you want the universe to assist you in manifestation, you have to speak on your desires. And let's be clear about what your desires are. Your desires cannot be to impede on the free will of someone else, and it manifests cleanly. That is not how manifestation works. Now, what can work is if your desires are on the same frequency as someone else desires, then it's likely that the two of you will meet and create something beautiful together. In theory, something beautiful together. Here's the thing. Since there's really no judgment on good or bad when it comes to the universe, because this is all a really grand experiment of all there is expressing itself in infinite ways as us, as trees, as light, as clouds, as whatever. And we have the ability to make a choice, when we gather together in a shared belief or shared thought or shared desire, it does increase our ability to manifest something. So it's very important that you use your voice to make clear to yourself and clear to the universe what it is that you're trying to do. Staying in your head doesn't count. So if you've been having trouble manifesting and it's because you're thinking something, really loudly in your head and you feel like that's enough, it's not enough. I'm just going to be honest with you. It's not enough. You don't get brownie points for thinking loudly. Thinking loudly is actually not doing. Thinking loudly doesn't manifest. So when you're in these situations, right, these group situations, it is quite easy to go with the flow, and then you find out the flow is not actually where you want to go. The results of manifestation is actually not for you, not something you desired, and perhaps can complicate matters even more. Right now, we are kind of being forced to face all of the quote unquote positive and negative aspects of being a human being. And it's good for us. I'm not going to say it's fun because, that's not always the case. I'm not going to say it's easy because that's definitely not the case. I'm not going to say it's simple because if only. We're not simple as individuals. So when we move away from ourselves and try to work with one another, it becomes even more complicated. And that's why it's so important for you to be clear on your thoughts, on your feelings, on your ideals for yourself. If your thoughts and feelings and ideals means that you think that you get to run over somebody else's thoughts, feelings, and ideals, then I'm going to tell you right now, it's not going to work. What people are contending with right now, right? And people are talking about vaccine in the United States and who should get vaccinated and who should not, and don't tread on me and don't tread on my free will and so on and so forth. This is what you all are not getting. You are individuals, yes, and you have individual free wills. That's true. When you sign on to a job that you're working for somebody else, and they hand you all their rules and regulations, you get your employee manual, you get all their policies, all of their rules, right? You are signing on to a tribe. Okay? And so some of you are really mad that your jobs are mandating that you have to be vaccinated in order to work there. And what's the reality? Before you even get emotional about it, what's the reality? The reality is you signed on to a tribe, a corporation, a job, a business that you do not own. Okay? A business owner, just like a tribal leader, has to think about the entire tribe. Not just you, not just your feelings, but the entire tribe. So here's where I am. I'm not going to be angry with any... Turn off your phone, Monica. I'm not going to be angry with any tribal leader who is looking out for the welfare of the entire tribe, just not the individuals in it. Listen, it may be inconvenient for you to look for another job, for another tribe, or someone else to work for. I get that, but the truth of the matter is, you signed up to follow the rules, to follow the regulations, to follow the policies of these companies before there was a COVID, before there was this situation that we all find ourselves in. All right. How do we begrudge someone who owns a company, someone who has been put in a leadership role of a tribe, whether the tribe be local government, whether it be a school, whether it be your home, whether it be elected officials. We are putting people in these roles with the idea that their job is to look out for everyone. I'm not saying you have to like it. I'm saying be mindful of what you signed up for. Okay? You have to take responsibility for the choices that you've already made. That's kind of it. Okay? Use your voice. If you think, okay, I don't want to be vaccinated, don't get vaccinated. I'm not going to tell you one way or the other. I have my own feelings on it. I am fully vaccinated, but that's for my own well-being. That's for my own health. And I, don't go around telling other people that they should be vaccinated. I'm telling you, as the leader of the individual tribe that is my home, as the owner of this body, of this vessel, and speaking for myself, this is what I did for me. What you do for you, that's on you. Because guess what? If you get sick or if you don't get sick, the consequences are yours. That's just the facts. But what I really would like people to stop doing is stop shaming on both sides. Just stop it. Just stop it. Just stop it. Just stop it. It like this whole idea of people thinking that they can rule other people is so twisted and is so sick. And let's be honest, if you're pro or against it, the moment you start trying to shame other people for their decisions, you are effectively out of alignment and you are wrong and you have crossed the line of free will. Whether you like what I'm saying or not is neither here nor there. It just is what it exactly is. You want to get vaccinated? Get vaccinated. But people who choose to get vaccinated, right? You are no authoritative position on a spiritual level to call them stupid, to call them idiots, to call them cowards, to call them sheep. That's not your freaking job. And if you really think that you're in alignment and you're doing that to people, you know what? I'm going to let the universe handle you. I'm not even going to comment on it. I'm simply going to let the universe handle you. And it will, because the universe balances everything out. You don't believe in vaccination for yourself? Great. Namaste. That's wonderful. That's on you. But trying to recruit other people to your way of thinking, this is where you're out of alignment. Okay. Don't get vaccinated. You did get vaccinated. You think other people should get vaccinated. And I'm going to look at you and say, can you please be more specific? Are we talking about in the workplace? Are we talking about children? Are we talking about, what are we talking about here? Are we talking about in a situation where people have agreed to be in some sort of microcosm, whether it be a church, whether it be a school, whether it be your home, and do you run the show? Are you a tribal leader? Are you in a role of power, either elected official or appointed, so on and so forth? Is it your job to look out for the whole? Have you been placed into that role? And when it comes to someone's home, if you're a parent and you're trying to protect your whole family, there it is. If you don't want people at your house because you're worried about your loved ones, them's the rule. If people don't like the rules, then they shouldn't be trying to come to your house. If you draw a boundary there, namaste, so be it. If people don't like it, then just don't visit. Be mad, stay mad. But once someone is in a leadership role and they have to look out for more than just themselves, I get it. I understand. All right. Using your voice to draw boundaries and to keep boundaries. You have to understand, the moment you try to do something that's in your best and highest good, the world will gather to test that. You can't just set a boundary and then forget it. That's not how it works. You're always going to be challenged. You're going to have people challenging your sanity. You're going to have people, challenging, who you are versus who you used to be. You're going to have people who are inconvenienced by your boundaries, by your words, by your trying to take care of yourself, by your trying to put yourself first. You must be ready to defend those boundaries. And what do I mean by that? I'm not saying to get in a long, drawn out fights with people and try to make them understand why you did what you did, why you said what you said. You don't have to do that. If you say there's a boundary here, there's a boundary here. Now, if you go into these long, drawn out conversations where you feel like you need to defend yourself, I promise you, you're never going to get it to the point where somebody else agrees with your decision if they have chosen their own ego and their own comfort and their own well-being and basically themselves first. What you have to understand is sometimes some things require explanation, but if you're a grown person taking care of yourself, paying your own bills, dealing with the consequences of your choices, you don't have to explain anything to any of us. We can either accept it or we can keep it pushing and keep it moving. All right. Also, using your voice in your relationships. Please, 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 please don't get involved with somebody pretending to be one thing. And then after you feel like you got them in a committed situation, or you quote unquote got them, then you become who you really are. That's really unfair. That is not only unfair, it's sinister, it's wrong, it's deception. So you have to know if somebody is not meeting the true you and they fall in love, or, they like you, or they've committed themselves to you. And then when you think you're in a secure, safe position, you become a completely different person and they decide that they want to leave you. You have to understand that that is the consequences of your choices of deception. Okay. Be honest. Be honest about who you are, first to yourself and to other people, and let them love the truth of you, not the lie of you. Let them appreciate, your true essence, not something that you think that they want to see or want to hear, or a person that they want to be with. You can't live a fantasy all the time. The truth is always going to out, and honestly, it's more convenient for all if you be honest about who you are and let that person see who you truly are, and let them be who they truly are, and see whether or not you're compatible. And also understand we change. Okay, this is one of the things I'm hearing a lot about from clients. Not everything is guaranteed. All right. It doesn't matter what the relationship is. It doesn't matter how committed it is or it isn't. We have to give each other the space to grow and change. Okay. And we have to be very honest and vocal about the changes that we're going through as best as we can be to our partners. All right. This is not a time where you shut down if you want the relationship to last. Okay. A relationship is an agreed upon thing. There is no, dragging somebody, trapping somebody, because nothing ever good happens when a person feels trapped, right? Because we're free-willed creatures. We agree to go into relationships. We agree to commit to one another. We just like we agree to show up to work because we want to get paid. If you want your relationships to last and be in a healthy space, be honest about where you are. Be honest about where your partner is. Give each other enough space to grow and to change. And if you can't grow and change together, understand what is happening. Then if you can't grow and change together, what's going to happen? You're going to grow and change apart. Okay? There's no guarantees that any of this is going to work out. That's why all relationships, including the relationship with ourselves, is a work in progress. You can't just sit down and let's say first year of marriage that may or may not have been bliss, or first 3 years of marriage, or first 3 months of a relationship where everything is new and shiny and the honeymoon period, and think it's all going to be like that. It's not all like that when you're by yourself. So let's just cut each other some slack, shall we? But it is about waking up every day and trying to figure out how do we get to the other side of every problem, every issue, every challenge. How do we allow each other enough space to grow while still being encouraging and maintaining a relationship in which you choose to be together? Okay? We need to start using our voices more, because if you feel like there's this undertow that's kind of dragging you to places in your life that you just don't want to be, or situations where you just don't want to be, well, it's happening because you're literally not saying stop. No, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be this. I don't want to move in this direction. And so if you don't say anything, guess what? You're complying. You're giving your consent. That's just how we as human beings perceive things. Well, you didn't say no. And it's like, well, I didn't say yes either. Right, you didn't say anything, so you didn't stop me as I was trying to railroad you, so I assumed that you were on board and you were ready to leave the station with me. Okay? Use your voice, people. Use your voice. It's becoming more critical than ever. You can't be a victim of circumstances if you're speaking your truth come hell or high water. Okay? So that's all I have for you this week, but it's such a critical thing. You can't be silent and get what you want in this world. That doesn't fall under law of attraction. It's definitely not about manifesting anything, and it's most certainly not fair in all of your relationships. If you don't want the same thing as somebody else, let it be known. If you can compromise, compromise. If you can come up with a strategy where everybody eventually gets what they want, that's wonderful. But if it doesn't work, let it go. Okay? Thanks so much for tuning in. Again, last week's vacation was great. I'm feeling good. I'm glowing. And yes, magic did this. I look forward to you talking to you next week. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel if you're enjoying these messages. And we'll talk next week. Namaste.